Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mommy Wise Mom's Perspective. This is third in the series of our candid conversations with the new age mom, wherein we started the series with something in mind that we will take new mom's perspective on how to manage kids, how parenting has changed in times today, how to balance their art between home, children, work, and the pandemic that is going around, and what is the best case scenario in terms of handling kids? Because I also understand that it's a new generation of kids, pretty different than how we have been in the generations before. Now, in this series of conversations, in the last two live that we did, we have two very different moms with us. So one was Akhila, who had a hands-on mom with two kids, who had a different perspective on parenting and said that managing kids depended on us and how well we do it. The second mom we had on our show was had a complete different perspective to it, with Simran saying that for her parenting was survival. A good day for her would be if nobody gets slapped in the house. It was a fun sleep, I guess, with her, a lot of other things. But I know there are other ways as well. And that is where I found my third guest when I was thinking of who is it who can give us a in control perspective of kids and is managing and juggling between a lot of things. And that is where I just picked up my phone, and my first call went to this dear friend of mine whom I have known for 2 years. And I know for a fact that I could not have put up a better example or got another person on the show who could have done justice to this aspect of balancing the act between work, family, and kids. So she is that in control, omnipresent mom who knows when to be, where to be, at what given point in time, when she is required in a board meeting and when she is required with her daughter, when she has to attend her kids' annual day, and all of that. I have seen her do it all. I've seen her being in the school for 1 hour and then knew for a fact that she had to rush for another meeting. So with that, I welcome my third mom, Tanya Davikana, onto the show today, who is the in control mom who has her shit together, if you can use that word. So, hi Tanya, how are you doing today?
Hey Sonia, thank you so much for having me. I don't know if in control is the right word to use for me, but I think I manage it okay.
That is, I said, if it can be said, and as Simran said in the last episode, the moms who have their shit together while we don't. So that is who Tanya is. But that's just one side of introduction for her, honestly, because Tanya lived the life on a go. Her heart lies with her daughter, though. And but if I have to, and as I told Tanya also, her introduction is too big, and I literally have to read it to tell you all what all she has accomplished in her professional career. So I'll do that only. So Tanya has over 15 years of experience now, and she has worked with leading media networks such as Network 18 and Star News as primetime news anchor, along with heading the editorial team for international affairs and sports and documentary. In her last role in media, this thing, she was the deputy editor and news anchor with India News and News. But after she became a mom, she did say bye-bye to this industry and moved on to join as marketing and communications head with Lava Mobiles. So that's where she is right now. So yeah, so Tanya, as I said, I'm rolled over already. Very nervous for this interview. But let's start with you and your journey. And yeah, how did you do it? Let's start with first the fact that you said that you took 1 year of a maternity break when you conceived. So how was that to begin with? Because I'm sure it was a change from the hectic life that you had, the kind of living that you had with your career, and the fact that you were very ambitious. So how did your life change when you accepted motherhood and you went that way?
Right. So first things first, I'm equally nervous, Sonia. It's not just you because as a former news anchor, I'm on the other side. I'm on your side. So I've asked questions, but not necessarily been on the spot to answer them. But yes, I think yes, from ever since I could remember, I've been very sort of ambitious, but maybe ambitious is not the right word. But I always wanted to do something very constructive with life. And so I started working very early. And when you say I have 15 years of experience, that makes me look really old. But that's not how it is. However, yes, there came a point, where I was working very hard, and the news industry is like that, where you're pretty much on the spot and on the edge because it's a live news scenario. So you go through that grind for say 10, 12, 13 years, and then you suddenly decide to embrace motherhood. And it's a completely different experience because, every mother says that motherhood is so subjective. It is very different from mother to mother, as it is different from child to child, because no two children are the same, no two mothers are the same. It is subjective, and also it's very dynamic. So the style of parenting that doesn't fit my scene right now, maybe it fits my scene 2 years later. So it changes, it evolves, you learn as you go. When I decided to, plan a family, I knew that I wanted to spend a good amount of time with my child. I'd worked too hard for too long. I wanted to take some time off. So even though in India you get 6 months of maternity leave, I decided to take a year off. And, I wanted to spend this quality time with my child. Also, being a first-time mother in a nuclear kind of setup where it was just me, my husband, and my child, we wanted to sort of, give it our best shot. It was nice in the beginning because, you're so overwhelmed and, you want to do your best. But yes, slowly you start realizing when you've lived a life, it was so sort of every minute was accounted for, you sometimes miss that too. So I think in that journey, I also realized that a big part of me felt not so consumed. And I also felt that, I'm the kind of person, and, feel free to judge me, but I think my DNA, my whole life, I perform better when I know I'm doing something constructive with my child, as well as I'm doing something constructive on the side. So getting back to work was an obvious next step. And yes, there's so much that I've learned in that process in how to balance the two, how to put both, on your priority. But of course, the child is your most important thing in your world and your biggest priority.
So, Tanya, tell me honestly, as I'll say from my thing, like you, I was into the job, but after my baby was born, I did not have the heart, honestly, because as you said, nuclear setup, we do not have support, family support, that there is a family member there with your kid at any given point in time. When we are living in cities, as in metros, a job means 24/7, and especially at a senior level, when it is never 9 to 5. There are meetings, there are after hours, there are weekend things that you got to do, right? Plus commuting and other things obviously takes a lot of time. Now, was the time wherein you had to rethink your decision because of not enough support around you or this thing? Or how did you manage? I'm sure, as you said, it evolved over this thing. So from the first year to later on, how did you just manage it all?
So now, yes, it is difficult. It is very difficult because you have this whole new human that you're completely responsible for. And a part of you wants to be selfish and get back to work because that's something you really want to not give up. It is a very difficult decision. And hats off to the mothers who decided to stay with their child, and hats off to the mothers who decided to go back into the workplace. I mean, hats off to both kinds of mothers. Raising a child is a very difficult job and nobody teaches you. So if you were to work in an office scenario, you go to business schools, you go to a variety of different education systems that teach you and prepare you for that role. But does anyone teach you how to be a mother? I don't think anything teaches you. There's no rule book. There is no certain way of being a mother. You learn everything on your own or from your experiences or from the experiences of peers and families and friends. And you try to, embrace it in the best way you can. So I think raising a child is a more serious business than going to work. It is tougher because work is still predictable. You have a set responsibility areas where you have to function. You know what you have to do in a day. You can, just juggle your calendar around that. But raising a toddler, I mean, it's very difficult because when you least expect them, they have a different mood or emotion to a thing, and you have to adapt as you go. So there is, no framework for it. Having said that, yes, I think one thing I've really learned, and I think is very important, is that you need to create a support system around you. Because raising a child is not a one-person job. As a woman, we know we are primary caregivers. But we're not the only caregivers. And there's a reason why we are the primary caregivers, because, if I could say, we're the gentler sex of the two, we're the more compassionate relatively sex of the two, which is why we are the primary caregivers. But I feel that every mom out there needs to ask for support, and there is nothing wrong in asking for support. Ask for support from your husband, your spouse, support from family if you're blessed to be living with, in a extended family. If none of that is available, creating the support with, maybe some other caregivers who come in from outside, it's very important, because they don't say it they don't say it wrong when they say it takes a village to raise a child, and a person can't do it. So I think, that's what I've learned: how to prioritize, how to create a support system around me, and function and get the best of both worlds.
Yeah. So Tanya, as I asked, so you said leave the child with a caregiver, and as I said, family support is not this thing. So how do you monitor them? Like when you're not around, okay? So how do you then monitor that your child is there? Because safety is a concern. What they're doing with the kid is a concern, right? How have you managed all of that so that you're in control and you exactly know that your child is safe? Because, see, you also know, if you are occupied or you have concerns in your head, I'm sure you cannot even function in your workplace. You've got to be really sure that your kid is safe, is in right hand, is doing what is required, is being well fed when you're not around, and things are going right? So what is your monitoring process then, and how do you take care of it?
Sonia, it's again each day as it comes, and it's a different way of dealing with it every day. There are days when my day starts with, pre-COVID, getting her ready for school, and we both used to leave at the same time. And then she would be off to her play school, and then she would come back in the afternoon. And of course, we have cameras, and I have a good, caregiver staff at home, who was there ready for her. On a different day, if say I have something very important to do and I will be late to come back home from work, the spouse comes in handy, and if, maybe he could take her to a playground or, come back home and be there for her. I think for us as parents and as a couple, our daughter is our priority. So we try and juggle and see who can be more accessible and available on a given day. Yes, there are times which are difficult when both of us have something very important to do, or we're traveling, to say further from home, maybe, to Noida or Gurgaon for work or whatever. And it does get difficult, but yes, given technology today, you can be connected with your child, you can monitor them, you can make sure you speak to them every now and then, which is very critical. So for me, a typical day would be like, I would meet her in the morning, but during COVID times, my daughter's sleep schedule is very off. So sometimes I don't meet her. I prepare her the previous day because I've only just started to go to work now a couple of days a week. So I prepare her the previous night. I tell her that when you wake up, Mama will not be at home, but I will be back in the evening, and then we'll have lots of fun. We'll do these things. I try and give her a couple of things to do, maybe it could be a worksheet or, pull out some toys, which I recycle. I keep them inside and then I bring them out so that, it's more fresh for her. So I, do that the previous night, prepare her, go to work. And as soon as she's up, she's supposed to video call me. So we do a little quick video call, and yeah, and then, during the day, there are a couple of times that we connect. I monitor, like I said, using cameras at home and all of that. So yeah, it's just each day as it comes, really.
Okay. So after your maternity break, this COVID time must have been a long duration that your daughter, Ara, would have gotten with you. So how did you make the most out of these times together?
Okay, so
Was it
COVID
still
was
work from home, or were there times that you were like that this is good because you got a lot of time with her?
So COVID was a roller coaster. It was such a roller coaster because, so my daughter, even though she's 3, she knew Mama goes to work every day and Mama is back in the evening every day. And that's something that she had understood very nicely. And then COVID hits. We're all in a complete lockdown, which was amazing. The first 2-3 months were amazing because everyone thought that this time is so temporary. There was not so much work pressure from my office. So we got a lot of time together. It was so refreshing because, we all were at home, locked up in that sense. And, we did a lot of cuddling together and, a lot of baking together and a lot of fun stuff together. All of that was a breeze. Cut to 3 months later when people realized, okay, COVID is here to stay, so get back to work. And the work was brought home. That is where it was so difficult as a mother. Because they say never get your work home, and here work was home for everyone every day. Now to explain to a 3-year-old that even though mama is at home, but mama is locked up in a room because she has an important meeting, and you cannot be creating a noise or even listening to music or rhymes or whatever because it affects the other person in the room who's working. So that was a very, very challenging thing to do. So it was very difficult. Then there was that phase, and then I took time to, slowly make her comfortable with that scenario where, me and my husband were working out of home in 2 different rooms, locked up. She had a limited space to play. She was not going to school. She was not going to the playground. And then work started again. So I started going just post Diwali, say 2 or 3 times a week. So now getting the toddler again used to mama not being there at home. So it's been a roller coaster, like I said.
So is it all juggling? How do you manage play with her in between all these things? So is it just a juggling act at every given point in time, or do you get time to play with her?
Sonia, I think this is the most important question, and not just working, not just for someone who's maybe a small enterprise or whatever, but even for a stay-at-home mom. I feel, in my personal opinion, that sometimes as women we're too hard on ourselves. We feel so responsible about things around us, about diligently running the household, about ensuring that there's the food and the fridge is completely stocked up every day, and of course raising a child or maybe 2 children. We take it too hard on ourselves. I feel every woman should ensure that she gets some of her own time, because unless we live a fulfilled and happy life, how do we transfer that on to our children, and how do we make this house a home and a happy home? I think it's very important, and this is where your support system comes in. So that's why I say don't feel shy in asking for support. Go out there, do your thing. You want to take that long shower, do it. Get someone else to be responsible for childcare at that point of time. It could be your spouse. Go take a walk if that's what you like. Go for a dance class, or whatever is it that makes you unwind. It is so critical, and we sometimes ignore this part. We sometimes feel that, oh, we'll be judged as being selfish if we asked for me time. But if you are that selfish for that little time, it could be, say, half an hour or an hour a day, it will just make you a better person and a better mother, is my personal opinion.
No, I absolutely
Yeah, so
agree.
I do take that time off. Also, I'll add, sometimes when I come back home from work, I am drop dead tired. But there's so much guilt, because guilt, we all know, is synonymous to motherhood. There's so much guilt of not having spent the whole day with your child, and you don't know what to do. So try the middle way out. Cuddle with your child in bed. Each other, read her a book. That way you're not doing something strenuous, you're chilling, and yet you're spending time with your child. So yeah, that's how I balance it out.
Has there been any difficult time wherein it has been too difficult to tell Ira as to why you had to go to work at that particular day? Or she would have asked you a difficult question like, Mama, why do you have to go?
Yes, oh, exactly. This has happened, Sonia. So this one day, when I started going back to work again after the lockdown period, she did ask me. She said, "Why do you go to work?" And I said, "So let me ask you, why do you like going to, say, your play school, or why do you like to go to a playground?" And she said, "Because I love going on swings and slides. It makes me happy." And I said, "That's exactly why I go to work, because it makes me happy. What I do at work is really something I want to do, and I get to earn money just like your dad, and to give you a good life." And uh, there was a counter question to that, and she said, "I've looked into your handbag and I know you have money, so why do you still need to earn money?" And I said, "Well, so many treats you want in a day. There's so many things you want in a day." So I told her, things have to be replenished every now and then for it to keep going. And yeah, we had that conversation already with a 3-year-old.
Sure. So, Tanya, who has been your role model? Who do you look up to?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, the list is endless, but if I was to talk about one person in particular, undoubtedly has to be Indra Nooyi. For me, she's been a great inspiration, not just because she's so full of life and so much fun to hear. And, I try and never miss out on any of her conversations or interviews, but just that, she was a woman and a woman of color, and she was out there leading this giant American corporation from the top, PepsiCo, in an American corporation from the top, and successfully raised two beautiful girls, had a successful marriage, and devoted all her time to her ailing parents and parents-in-law. I think in my world, it is Indira Nooyi who's literally had it all. But in her own words, she's had it all by making some sacrifices, creating some support system around her, and some collateral damage has also gone in the process.
So, Tanya, parenting has, as I said, parenting has changed over the years. Now, what is that one thing that you have in mind that we should give to the generation that we are raising? Because obviously, this generation is different. Why I say it is different, because they are very exposed to things. They know things very early on. There are things at times I'm very surprised that a 3-year-old, my daughter 3-year-old, knows of certain things which I might not have known when I was 3, or maybe possibly even 10 when I was at that age. Now, what is that one thing that ideally we as parents should be very cautious of, or we should have in mind while we're raising our kids, to ensure that their childhood doesn't go anywhere? And yeah, we're raising them right in certain perspective of our culture, our tradition, and all of that. So, how do we do that in today's scenario?
Well, in my view, we're raising children who will go out there in this big, bad world in, say, maybe 20 years' time, 18 to 20 years' time. We're preparing a future-ready child, and that should be our priority. And, it's how your perspective of the future is. For me, I think there are two things which are very important as I go along this journey of being a mother, is that one, I want her to have that inspiration, to go out there and dream big and try and achieve her dreams. And it could be in any field. I mean, I don't want her to, study hard and just get somewhere and get a degree. I mean, if she wants to pursue a sport, I'd be the happiest mother on planet. If she wants to pursue music or dance or whatever, I'd be so happy if she does that. So I think for me, it's important that I inspire her enough. I role model her enough, and which is also part of when I go to work and she sees me working hard and she sees all of that. I think a parent as a role model is an excellent thing for a child. But yes, of course, there's so many role models. So I want her to be inspired to dream and achieve her dreams. And at the same time, I think I want to raise a child who is very resilient. Because what better time than this COVID to realize that things never go, how you plan them. So adaptability, resilience, to brave it out when the world is against you, when the universe is against you, is something that I definitely want her to know and understand and get used to, because that's what a future ready child would be, a resilient and inspired child, in my view.
So, very true, Tanya. I completely agree with most of the things because your daughter, my daughter is the same age, and that's exactly how I would also want my kid to be, that they have enough exposure, and that's what we can give them in certain manner, and we leave it to them as to what is it that they want to pick at a later stage, and yeah, we just keep them as in we give them an upbringing that wherein they're strong enough to take decisions on their own, right, and just be with the times and not be shattered in times, in hard times, and all of that. So, so that brings me to a question: what is your message to the other mom, to all other moms? What is it that you will tell them to motivate them, inspire them? Because I come across moms. I am one myself. We all have times when we feel overwhelmed. We feel life is not fair. We see that our husbands go off to work. We're sitting at home. It's our responsibility at the end of the day, and it is difficult to cope up. Right now, while you're doing so many things, what is that one motivational thing or a tip that you will give all the other moms, so that if we are motivated enough to go through that day every day and as an enjoy this journey as a parent?
So my one top tip to every mom will be: never listen to any other mom. Never feel that, you know, there is a different style of parenting that somebody else is doing. Oh my God, I should also try it. No. We all are very different. Our family dynamics, our lives are very different. Even our children are very different. So first, do not listen to what others are doing. Never compete. You know, I see even at my daughter's age, who's just 3, there's so much competition. People ask me, oh, you know, what has your child learned in this COVID time? And I'm like, my child, no, I'm just giving her a free year. I mean, I'm just letting her be. She's 3. She does not need to be competitive at this age, you know. I am one of the, I feel, rare moms, if I could call it, who is not enrolling her child into online education at this point of time. Because like I said, she's just 3 years old. I want her to just be, just play, just have a good time, and not also increase screen time for her, which is a very personal choice. You know, I mean, again, whatever suits everybody. I'd rather, you know, take her maybe to a playground on the weekends. My husband tries to take her during weekdays. We let her be free play around the house, listen to music, and just be, you know, that's one thing. The other thing I would like to say to all mothers is always, always make time for yourself. Nothing can be as important as making time for yourself, because you're a human. You're human, you have your own emotions, you have your own, you know, wants and hobbies. Please do whatever it, you know, it may be that you like doing. You know, I know some people just love to cook, and some people, you know, on the contrary, would just want, you know, 20 minutes of downtime and just take a nice hot shower. So whatever, you know, just be happy about your life. Don't treat raising a child as a job, though it may be more difficult than any other job that you can ever do. But do not take it as a job. Just let them be, you know, and just inspire them enough, they'll do very well.
So, last 2 quick questions for you. So, if there is a genie that we give to you, what is that one thing that you would want that genie to take away from the daily list of things that you have to do?
Oh, absolutely nothing. I mean, I love the chaos around my life to the fullest. I don't want the genie to take away anything. I love that there is no method to the madness that runs in my house. I love, you know, yeah. Okay, if there's really one thing that the genie can grant me, is that my travel time to work and fro could be just negated, and I'd rather spend that time constructively. Maybe that's the only downside to my life, that I spend 2 hours on the road.
So once I remember we were sitting somewhere for a coffee, and Tanya joined in, and she was like, "This is the first time I'm sitting in a group of moms, and honestly, I don't even know what to conduct myself and what conversation to have." And so she said, "I envy you guys if you have time at hand to sit like this and have a conversation." Tanya, does that still? Do you still kind of mom or any kind of scenario?
No, no, I always make time. I always make time to meet, other moms for coffees, and I love doing that. But yes, it's. I think life is all about prioritizing for me. And while I would not miss any single PTA, any single performance, any single thing that I'm needed in school for, or any single time that my child would need me. Yes, sometimes going out with friends for coffee does take a backseat. However, I love doing it. So Sonia, me and you should catch up next Saturday now.
Yes, yes, most definitely. So now I have also gotten to this routine that I'll work 5 days and I'll not work on the weekends. Apart from the fact that we will be doing these lives every Saturday. So that is to balance my act also working and spending time with my daughter. And yes, at some point in time, we have to finally take a decision that way, that we have to balance that act somewhere down the line. So Tanya, so much, thank you so much for the time today. I already have 2 messages on my screen that people have loved this interaction and what a role model you are for all the moms out there. It was a pleasure having you on the show today. We have had some great chat, and I'm sure all those moms were sitting at home, possibly complaining of how much they have to do. After listening to this conversation, they will understand that probably everyone can increase the number of hours in a day. Everybody has 24 hours, but if we still put in effort, the quality of those hours, the time we spend together, definitely can be improved by the way we just manage things and juggle with things around. So thank you so much. Thank you so very much for the time. It was a lovely interaction.
Sonia, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm far from being a perfect mom, and I see so many of my friends doing a far better job than me. But yes, I love this phase of my life. Being a toddler mother is as crazy as it is fulfilling and full of love. And my request to every mother is just make the most of it. They'll very soon grow up, and they will go their different ways. So make the most of it while you can. Thank you, Sonia.
To that note, bye-bye to everyone. We'll meet you all next week again with a new mom, with a new perspective and a new story that will definitely inspire you. Do send in your comments, your likes, your shares, because that will tell us whether the content that we are bringing to you or the information that is coming out to you is of use, or what is it that you would want us to bring to you. So thank you so much for tuning in, for all the people who have been there with us on the live. And we'll see you again next week in Mom's Perspective with another live session. And Tanya, coffee next week.
Absolutely. I'm waiting for it.